What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to discuss if Injustice 3 will release in 2021. Now, funny enough, I know a lot of people here are relatively new, or I'm relatively as in the last year or so, right? Probably also people that are watching this would have watched maybe some of the Batman Arkham videos or any other superhero stuff that I do on this channel. But funny enough, back in 2017, I did cover Injustice 2. We made a lot of Injustice 2 videos. I even had an Injustice 2 tournament, and I talked back then as to when we could get a third Injustice. And I feel like even back then, I said 2021. I'm going to stick with it. I truly do believe 2021 could be the time. And I think there's really one major aspect or hurdle to kind of talk about, and that is it enough time to be able to make a game like that? Well, we have to look at what Nether Realms has done. So Nether Realms was originally a Warner Bros. Game Chicago. They originally had a different name. They filed for bankruptcy. They were rebranded Nether Realm, obviously under Ed Boon, creator of Mortal Kombat, all that good stuff. That was back in 2009, 2010. So they came back right with Mortal Kombat when they were kind of rebooted the franchise. I think a lot of people remember the game. That's, I think, the first Mortal Kombat game I've ever played was Mortal Kombat, just the name, in 2011. Fast forward to 2013, we had Injustice: Gods Among Us, as well as also Batman Arkham Origins. They did it on the Android and iOS. I didn't know that, but now I do. Then we fast forward to 2015, and we had Mortal Kombat X, right? Fast forward to 2017, where we had Injustice 2. So again, from Injustice 1, which was 2013, to Injustice 2 was overall 4 years. And in between that, 2 years after that, they made a Mortal Kombat game. 2 years after that, they made Injustice 2. 2 years later, it's 2017, now we're into 2019, Mortal Kombat 11. That obviously came out last year, I believe, in April. And I actually owned that game. We live streamed that. We played that quite a bit. I love that game. I think they've done a really good job. I think they've done a really good job with the Injustice games as well. I really, really liked both of them, Injustice 1 and 2. I think they did a phenomenal job. So the question is, so I guess here's the thing. It doesn't take a rocket scientist, it doesn't take a genius here to tell you that they go every 2 years, okay? I mean, that's just generally the path. Now, that's not the genius part, right? The question is, can they keep that going? That is generally the discussion, because as of right now, literally since 2011, you could say, well, you know what? Honestly, we have history on our side to prove that they've done actually, when you think about NetherRealm, they've done an incredibly consistent job overall ever since they first were founded, 2011. Now, yes, there's been problems with the Mortal Kombat games. There were problems with Injustice. But overall, I would say at worst, they're good games. At best, they're great. They're amazing. People really, really like them as their fighter games. But I think all of those games, I mean, I played all of them. I played Mortal Kombat, played Mortal Kombat 10, played Mortal Kombat 11, played Injustice 1 and 2. I mean, I liked all of them. There's not one that I'd say. I think maybe the first one, Mortal Kombat, the reboot, maybe was the weakest one. But I honestly, sincerely enjoyed all of them. And by the way, I am not a fighter guy. I don't like fighters. I do like them. I'm just terrible at them. And I button smash all the time. I don't actually know how to do combos. I've tried to learn, especially with Mortal Kombat 11. I would write down the combos of my favorite characters in a notebook, and I would look down and I would do the combos when I was playing. I wouldn't say I was atrocious at Mortal Kombat 11. I definitely got better. But overall, I'm not really a fighter. I played Jump Force, and I wasn't very good at it. And I really don't play a lot of fighter games in general just because I'm so bad. That and racing games, for the most part, besides Mario Kart and Crash, I really just try and stay away from them just because I'm not good at them. But those games are really, really solid. The stories, and by the way, the Injustice games, those stories, I don't think I'm saying it to anybody who doesn't know. The Injustice game stories, I think, are phenomenal. Ed Boon has even said how he believes the Injustice games could work as a movie. Absolutely. In fact, the whole Dark Superman approach of what Justice League should have probably been, the Snyder cut, whether or not that was actually going to be that or not, that could have very well dipped into Injustice. But realistically, if you made the Injustice games movies and you just did 1, 2, 3, you'd have amazing films, because those games are sincerely good. They're really, really solid. Again, though, the question is, could they keep it up? Now, we do have another obstacle to throw in, and it's what's been going around in the world. Now, I'm frankly getting tired, and my name's not even Frank. I'm getting tired of talking about this thing going around in the world, but sadly, it still sticks sticking around very annoyingly. And we've talked about what that has done to a lot of games. Now, what I would say for Injustice, honestly, is I don't think it would affect it. And I've said this before, and it doesn't really make way for a really good video on its own. That's kind of why I have to repeat in all these videos. I think what's happened around the world from a gaming industry perspective has really affected just the games that are very, very close to releasing. They've obviously affected the physical sales of the games that did release: Doom, Animal Crossing, Resident Evil 3, Final Fantasy 7. Those games were hurt physically because of this, okay? But digitally, they sold really, really well. Next-gen consoles, the production of them are hurt by this. Last of Us has been delayed. Ghost of Tsushima may be delayed. So you're seeing games that are really, really close getting delayed. Now, why am I saying all this? Well, honestly, it is important because people will say, and I've seen people say in all of the, in every video I make about talking about an upcoming game, one of the first things mentioned is how does what's going on affect that game? And to be honest with you, again, I think the games that are further out than 1 to 2 months. So any game that I think was supposed to come out July or later, let's just say it to be like a solid July or later, I really don't think it's affected because I think you could still get, because you don't make the discs, you don't put together the physical, aspect of it until right before when it goes gold, right? That's normally when it happens. And so for a game like The Last of Us, like this is when they'd be doing that, and obviously they would have some problems with that. The consoles, they're getting literally manufactured right now. That's going to have some problems. So stuff like that gets affected, but games that are a while out, they're still making the game. We've seen like betas, we've seen different DLCs get delayed, stuff like that. The Fallout 76 one, that has been affected, right? Because normally they have like systems in place in their office. But for a studio like NetherRealm, for a game like Injustice 3, I think they're good. We've seen numerous examples of voice actors recording their lines like just on the internet. We've seen Troy Baker have like his whole setup, right? I'm not saying Troy Baker would be in it, although that would be a good idea, but we've seen that. So even if they need to get still the voice work done, they can do it. The programming, all that kind of stuff, they can do all of that from home. Again, I do understand it, and when I look at it, and it is every 2 years, and the people say, well, can they really keep going? I mean, I do actually want to side with them and say, yeah, that's a really tough thing to keep going and to keep it that consistent. They've done it 4 times now. This would be the 5th time they've done it. So, I mean, at some point, you just have to say, you know what? They're really good with it, and they're very, very consistent. And what's also really, really cool about it is they announce it really soon before it comes out. We saw Mortal Kombat 11 got announced at the Game Awards that year, so that was December. The game came out in April. They gave them 4 months, really, for the game to come out ever since they announced it. So that was really, really cool. That was really, really special. I think that excited a lot of people. I could honestly see Injustice 3 doing the same thing. So, again, like, while I do want to, I don't even know why. I don't want to, because I do want to believe in them. I want them to, keep up this system of every 2 years. While I do want to kind of give you guys, something and say, you know what? I mean, I do agree. It's tough to make a game every 2 years. Whatever they're doing there, they got it planned out. I feel like they've got to have two different teams, not 2 full-size teams, but they have to have a team that's working on, because I really don't think 2 years is enough time to make, in all reality, and I haven't looked it up. I haven't looked at any articles. Maybe this is what they do, and I'm just saying it. I really do feel like, though, they have the main team. So right now, main team working on Injustice 3, but then there's a smaller side team that's working on the next Mortal Kombat game. I feel like that's what they have to do, because you just look at it. I don't think 2 years, even you look at Call of Duties, you look at Assassin's Creeds, and people always wonder, well, how could they get them out every single year? Well, it's because they have 2 or 3 studios rotating. So each studio actually does get 3 years to make their Call of Duty game, right? That's how they're able to do it. Same thing with Battlefield's a little bit different because they squeezed dice and had to get those games out sooner. And those are shooters. Those are different kinds of games. But even you look at those, and they rotate teams. So if you only have one studio, it is very possible that you have 2 different teams in there. We know Warner Bros. Montreal does that. Again, I wouldn't be shocked if NetherRealm does that. I wouldn't be shocked if Rocksteady is doing that. To have as much time off as Rocksteady's had, and then to have a game and then say, okay, bye, we're taking another 6 years off, then to have in another 6 years, I'm saying by the time the game eventually comes out, say that's 12 years, you have 2 games. That is a long time to wait for 2 games. So I feel like even Rocksteady could potentially have 2 studios, and what do they all have in common? Well, they're all owned by Warner Bros. So it does honestly make a ton of sense. I think this game is coming in 2021, and honestly, that really excites me. This would be I feel like it would be a cross-generation game. It would be next gen, but it would also, I think, be on current gen. Right up my, I mean, to be like very frank with you guys, again, I'm really more excited for it now than I ever would be. Again, we covered Injustice 2, but that was back in 2017. We were, decent size. I think we just hit like 3,000 subscribers right after that game had come out. But I mean, that's really nothing compared to where we are now. So to go into 2021 to have a third Injustice game, obviously for all of those that watch me for, Batman, for Rocksteady, for any of these comic book games that I'm going to be covering, and I have covered and I will cover, we're really going to start growing and start building. We've already done that. And like I've said, there's so many of these games to look forward to. That's what excites me so much. Again, 2 at Warner Bros. Montreal. A Rocksteady one is one making a Superman game. Could there be other ones? We know there could be a Daredevil game being made, and you have the Marvel stuff too, right? Daredevil, Spider-Man 2, Avengers, all these kind of things. There's so much there. There's so much to get excited for. And then Injustice, it's a very different thing because it's a fighter. But you know what? Again, it's got a phenomenal story. They use Kevin Conroy. It's great. I mean, overall, it's just a really, really awesome thing. This may be the final one. That'd be very interesting to see if they stop it here. And if they do stop it here, what do they do after? Obviously they do Mortal Kombat next, but then do they do a brand new fighter game like from the ground up? But also, again, they're a DC kind of company. They can make DC games. So what do? Can you do something else? You don't have to do Injustice. You can make another DC fighting game, kind of start over, do your own thing. The potential is honestly endless, and it's very, very exciting. So again, from like a personal perspective, or even from the channel perspective, it's very exciting. And maybe I'm kind of like willing it to happen, that I really do want it to happen in 2021. Like, let's get it out there. Also, you think about what 2021 could be. Think about that. Could 2021 be a year where we just had gotten a Batman game, say that comes out in the fall, but even if it doesn't, it comes out next year, well, okay, you got that Batman game, you have Injustice 3, you have Rocksteady's game. I mean, that's a lot all in one time. And then do you have the Superman game? What's going on there? Harry Potter. I mean, next year, 2021 could be absolutely insane. Really, it could be what a lot of 2020 should have been before, what happened. But guys, let me know in the comments below. Again, we've talked about this in the past, but, a much fresher, a newer version, 3 years later. Should be funny. Maybe go back and check out that video I did originally and see how I've progressed in my recording skills. But let me know in the comments, guys. Do you think it's still coming out, or do you think it will come out in 2021? Do you think they can keep that every other year system going, or do you think maybe it'd be another year? Do you think it'd be 2022? Let me know. What would you like the game to be about? All that kind of stuff. Let me know in the comments. Make sure you guys are, as always, subscribed and have that bell icon turned on. You guys have done an awesome job supporting the channel. I truly appreciate it. As we get closer, whenever Injustice 3 releases, all that kind of stuff, or even gets announced, obviously, we will cover it on this channel, on my second channel, all that kind of stuff. So loads of fun, honestly, superhero, supervillain games, both DC and Marvel, coming very, very soon. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.